Okay, let's call to order this meeting for the Parks and Rec Commission, Thursday, November 14th, 2024. Commissioner Esquivel, will you please lead us in the flag salute?
Yes. Please stand. Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Anna, can we do a roll call?
You guys need to speak into the mic. Chair Flores,
Present.
Vice Chair Reese,
Present.
Secretary Pelayo,
Present.
Commissioner Esquivel,
Present.
Commissioner Alejandra Flores has an excused absence.
Okay, thank you.
Meeting compensation disclosure pursuant to Government Code Section 54952.3. Disclosure of compensation for meeting attendance by the Parks and Recreation Commissioners is $75 per meeting. Report on posting. I, Ann Medina, Parks and Recreation Executive Assistant, certify that a true and correct copy of the foregoing meeting agenda was properly posted on November 7th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. as required by law.
Thank you. Okay, has everybody had a chance to review the meetings from last meeting? If so, do we have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
This is Liz. I so move.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, so at this time, we're going to open it up for public comment. Do we have anybody? Clock.
All right, Mario Dominguez Jr., resident of Southgate. So we're in November of 2024. 2 years ago, back in November 2022, I first had a conversation with Mr. Costley asking him about the Parks Master Plan because I was at the time chasing after two projects that I wanted included on the Parks Master Plan. And make a long story short, here we are 2 years later, and still our director of Parks and Recreation has yet to initiate the process of us having the update for our Parks and Recreation, for our Parks Master Plan. And the reason why this is so critical is that I'm after like 4 projects: the Celebridge Park, Imperial Wetlands, Parque dos Rios, and there's that vacant lot next to Legacy High School alongside the LA River. I want them all included on the Parks Master Plan so that the city can take part in using its secret weapon, Jason Browd, to go after congressional funding to pay for the cost of construction, because that's where the big money is going to come from. It's going to come from the Senate and the U.S. House of Representatives to fund these big projects. And we're not going to be able to use Jason Browd to go after congressional funding if these projects aren't included on our Parks Master Plan. The other reason why the Parks Master Plan is so critical is because it's going to set the trajectory for this Parks and Recreation Commission for the next, I don't know, what is it, 15, 20 years? So there's nothing more consequential or impactful than the Parks Master Plan. I guarantee you, nothing that comes before you in these items is going to be more significant than the Parks Master Plan. It's going to set everything that you do in the motion for the next, it's going to determine what the next 15 years are going to be for you folks. So that's why it's critical that we get that thing started. So my question to the director is, when do you plan to begin the update for the Parks Master Plan? Because once we entered December, now we're entering year 3 of me waiting for you to begin this thing. And the other thing that I want is the splash pad. When is this? Because I've laid out my strategy to, doggone it.
Thank you, Mr. Dominguez. Do we have any more public comments at this time? We still doing online or no? Nothing online, right? We're not doing that anymore. Okay. Okay, if we have no more public comments, we'll close that session.
I can give you a quick update for the question by Mr. Dominguez, is we actually put out the RFP for the Parks Master Plan in September of this year for bid openings in October. We received no responses at that time for it, so we have reissued the RFP for the Parks Master Plan. The bid opening date is December 9th, and at that point, we will see what and if we get more responses at that time to see who will do it. And that's where we're at on it.
What kind of responses are you looking for? Responses, what are you looking for? Responses.
They're outside contractors who will give us a plan for what they want to do on it. It's a professional services agreement. And so they will tell us what they would like to see in a Parks Master Plan concept of how to put it together. And they'll give us a plan and a price. We'll review it and interview those guys to find our best pick. And then at that point, when we get to all the way through that process, we will bring those to you guys. I think it's to them. To them, sorry, I'm
Yes,
catching up on my head.
in the past, we did bring them here.
Right, but we would do that in the February meeting.
Is there any way to
We-
reach out to?
We
to
can't
them? Oh,
answer
you can't.
questions. This is not an agendized item.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yeah, understand. Okay, we have presentations. Anybody here for any presentations?
I'm open session.
No presentations? Okay, we'll close that section then. We'll go to open session items. Number one, review the recreation program first quarter fiscal year 2024, 24. Yeah, 23, 24.
23, 24. So I'll go ahead and give that report. So this is for the first quarter. So we'll talk about summer. So what goes better than summer than the pool? So we'll talk about aquatics first. And the aquatics brought back their sunrise swim and their moonlight lagoon, which took place Monday through Thursday. They had max out attendance for those sessions, which includes about 250 to 300 people there. And then they were sold out also for their party or their pool rentals for the summer as well. So that's good. Once again, they partnered with LA 84 Foundation to offer free swim lessons for over 500 kids. And they received a grant of almost 23,000. And then another new program or a couple of things they started was they did the first ever summer splash camp for kids where they provided water safety. They gave increased awareness about athletic sports such as diving, water polo, surfing. And they had that was successful. They had about 70 people registered for that. I know they're excited and they're excited for next year. They said, oh, we can't wait for next year. So that's a good thing. Moving on down to sports. They started off, or youth sports, I should say, started off the first quarter with their fundamental classes, and they're very popular. They sold out within the first couple hours. So that's awesome that, people are still coming out for that. And then regarding our karate, Juan Larios is an instructor, and he does a great job of working with the kids and adults out there. And they actually hosted an international tournament this year, and they had teams from Ecuador, Nicaragua, El Salvador, as well as local talent there. So that's awesome to expose, our community to those outside countries to come in and do that. And then I'll talk about special events. So as usual, we have our regular summer concert in the park in July, and then our movies in August. The difference being that this year, every movie and concert had food trucks or some sort of snack truck there. So people seem to enjoy that. I know for the movies, I think we did it one time last year, and this time having the ice cream truck and whatever the snack was, people really enjoyed that. And it increased attendance also. So they were getting about 200 people a session or each Friday night for the movie. Also, another thing that the staff started was that they had the inaugural family camp out at the Southgate Park. They sold out on that one as well. So they had 25 families in attendance where they did water games and inflatables. They campfire, s'mores, and a bunch of things with the family. So it was a great experience, especially for some of our families who maybe may not be able to get out and go camping somewhere else or maybe afford it. And they also had, they added on a food portion for dinner and for breakfast the next day. So they could add that on to the family like fee that they charged. But I know that was very successful and families are already asking for more. So next year we're looking to increase it to possibly 50 families to be able to come out and experience that. And then one other thing that we added on this year was our family game night or our family night in general. And the first session was family game night where they did the Minute to Win It games. They had 40 participants out there or different families participating and challenging one another to Minute to Win It games. They offered dinner for the families and just a great, just family environment. I think that's important to keep families and family events going in our community. So that's just a nutshell of what took place the first quarter. Any questions?
I do. For the family camp night, I saw that it was really popular. Will you guys be having, you just said that you guys will be adding maybe 50 families for next time, possibly?
Yes.
All in one night, like weekend, or would you guys do multiple weekends now that it's got the attention of the residents?
Depending on how much budget wise, what we
Yeah.
can put in there, we may be able to offer additional ones. We'd have to look at what the budget is. But for sure, we want to do at least one more for sure, because it was just very popular. And
Right.
I think a lot of people were just, there's, oh, we're going to tell so-and-so, we're going to tell so-and-so. So,
Yeah.
I think it definitely is going to grow.
Yeah. I wasn't able to attend, but the social media that you guys posted,
Uh-huh.
it seemed fun.
Yeah.
You guys had a lot of activities.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. We have to keep people busy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were good. Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
thanks.
Yeah, no, I'm very happy with a lot of the events that have been happening, and I see that you guys have been, or that the cultural arts team has been collaborating with Chicas Roqueras. That's a program I've been involved with, not consistently, but throughout many years, and I know how important it is to bring music to communities, especially like you said, when we don't have access to these things. So I'm really happy to see that collaboration, and then have them taking over the museum. I think it's this weekend, right? Where they're having their showcasing a lot of the teens or the participants' art. And so yeah, I'm really happy with a lot of the exhibits that have been happening there. And do you know if the attendance has been increasing or for
For
those events?
the cultural art one,
Mhm.
it's kind of, I think some things have been a hit and miss. Some things are increasing, some things are kind of staying the same. Others have dropped a little bit. So it just depends on what the event is. And I think too, depending on how well it's marketed or advertised to the community.
Yeah, I can see that, but I'm very happy how much it's cleaned up. I still remember how cluttered it used to be. So
Oh yeah, no, it definitely looks better.
yeah, thank you. Oh, and for the tots, it starts at 2, right? When do people start signing up for that?
For which one?
The what is it? The Tiny Twos?
Oh, the Tiny Twos?
Yeah.
You're talking about the class itself or the
Yeah.
registration?
Yeah, the class itself.
I don't, 2, I think it is 2 p.m.
What, you're asking when are
Or 2
signups
p-
for
you're talking
that?
about the
Yeah, when are
signups, like the-
signups?
Signups
Okay.
are, we open signups in December for that, for the next round,
Yeah,
which
I
is
just-
January.
For the next round in January, and they should be 2 already, right?
2,
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay, got it. Thank you.
Secretary Pelayo, any comments?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a few questions regarding the FAM camp or the camp. I know you said that it depends on budget, right? What are there any, I don't know, fundraisers or any way that you guys are collecting funds to try to finance those activities? I mean, were the families charged a fee to?
They were charged like a nominal fee,
Okay.
but it doesn't cover the entire cost of everything. And that's why if we also had the additional fee, if you wanted breakfast, it was like an extra so much per family. If you wanted the dinner, it was an extra so much per family just to help cover the cost of the food. But they were initially non-budgeted items there that we were trying to do. So a lot of it, we try to get sponsorships and reach out to different things. And then we ended up with a little bit of funding from our UWS that came through that helped put it on. But initially they're non-budgeted. So we try and make it work.
And one of the advantages, as she said, that they're going to raise it from the 25 families that were there to 40, is that most of the costs are already covered in that aspect because a lot of the costs are staffing. But to go from 25 to 40 really doesn't increase our staff need. It
Right.
just increases the number of people. And so that'll help a little on it and stuff. So, but we are looking for sponsorships for different things. And if we can, we will. If we can
Sure.
find those groups and that want to step up for some of these, we're always willing to. It's just, there takes some time too for staff to run out and find a sponsor. It's not just a, hey.
Yeah, yeah, for
And-
sure.
And we ask for sponsors, so many other events, it's hard to hit up the same sponsor over and over and over.
Right.
We have to kind of pick and choose. And spread
Yeah,
it out.
absolutely. Do we have an idea of more or less what a break-even point would be in terms of the number of families to kind of cover an event, for example?
We could figure that out. I don't know that we have it on hand with us, but please note that almost every Parks and Recreation program we run never makes money.
Right.
We are not a makes money type of thing. In fact, our usual break even for any youth style event is at best 50% of what it costs. And
Okay.
that's only of the actual programming costs, not the cost of lights,
Hmm.
fields, all the other stuff.
All
that
the
goes
hard
with it.
costs, yeah.
Yeah, so most of the time, any youth program like that only brings in 50%. We look across the board, any senior program only brings in 15% of costs.
Mm.
So adults we try to get more from, but we're not at 100% from them because we're not in a community that can afford those types of rates in life. So most of what we do is subsidized across
Sure.
the board.
Would it be possible, for example, to try to use some of the Boy Scout and the Girl Scout teams maybe to help and coordinating some of these activities, maybe minimize cost on the staff side by utilizing some of these groups that already have some camping experience and can provide their expertise?
Oh, I'm sure we could look at partnering with some of them. That's not a bad idea at all, is maybe get some time with them. I don't know that it'll significantly change because a lot of the staffing part is set up and supervision stuff that goes with it. But no, it's actually a good idea. See if we can pull in a couple of those groups to help on a little of it.
All right, and what else? Just regarding, I guess, a little bit about the cultural arts also. You mentioned that some are hit and miss, right? And I think that goes with any event probably because it's hard to determine what people are going to like, right? And I know that we have a social media position now. And has there been any change from prior to having this person help with marketing some of these events, and now that this person's on board and marketing the events, have you seen a noticeable difference, or is it sort of the same?
I think sometimes it just depends on how well it's marketed and how often it gets posted, when it gets posted. I think that's the benefit of having a social media person is that there's specific times that are very hot for social media when people are on, and it's all about trying to follow the trends of when to post things. And sometimes it's just how catchy things are. If something doesn't look catchy, people are just kind of scroll right by it, right? I mean, when we're on our own phones, right? If something doesn't look that appealing, it's kind of like, just keep going. So I think it does help when we do a good job of making sure that it gets out there in a timely manner. It's not last minute. It definitely does help.
Okay, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. I just want to say everything's been you're doing a great job. Thank you guys. I know there's a lot of activities that go on. It's going to get crazy. That's next month coming up here. But the stuff that you guys have been doing have been excellent. I do appreciate the fact that you guys are looking at expanding things, taking things into consideration. I know Secretary Pelaez made some suggestions, but I also want to suggest that we look at other sponsors. Like you said, you keep going to the same sponsors over and over again. So there's opportunities and some of the even smaller businesses that are willing to help out just to put their name out there. So if you can, I don't know if the sponsorships have recognition during these events or not, or
Yeah, no, they do.
major recognition. I don't know where the printing comes from or things like that. I know there's cost involved with printing signs and stuff like that. So Giving them some incentives to make, like I said, some of these smaller companies do want to get their name out there. They do want to put there. So I know we constantly go to the Walmarts, we constantly go to these bigger companies that are coming in now, but the smaller companies do deserve that respect. And I know it's hard to get out there.
Mhm.
There's things that go on day to day, but maybe that's a position for even the social media person to reach out to these people and try to get them involved, get the word out, even through these small places down Tweety, down Firestone. There's a lot of places that we can pull in some, how do you call it, like helping each other out. I mean, I know number one, they want to help the community, of course,
Mhm.
but when they help the community, it also helps them too.
Oh, yeah.
They
Their name
see
gets out there.
they see the benefit of helping the community. I mean, I've reached out to small burger places for like Tom's Jr., let's say, for example. They've donated money when I've had basketball leagues and things like that. And
Mhm.
I mean, it's $100 or $200, and they're willing to just give it. Just
Mhm.
even they're not even asking sometimes for that recognition, but they'll take it,
Yeah.
of course. But
Right.
just little things that we can do. Again, not only for this program, for the night over in the park. By the way, do they put their own tents?
Yeah, the
That's
families in
nice.
the tents.
That's cool. That's really cool. So yeah, just keep up the good work, and just look at these other avenues. Let's see what we can do to bring the community together, and not only the big conglomerates, but even the smaller people, and see what they can do as well, because they need help, and I'm sure they're willing to give a little bit to maybe get a little bit. So
Right. No, it
let's see
makes
what we
sense.
can do.
We do try to work with the chamber as well and getting some of those, just getting businesses to
Yeah.
to help donate.
It just seems so easy to, okay, Walmart, give us money. Azalea, give us money. I forget the company that runs Azalea, but Prime Store. I
Prime
think it is.
Store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Prime Store, just give us money. So yeah, just looking at those things. So I appreciate it though. I know you guys are doing a good job, but just my 2 cents. Any other comments? Okay. Do we have a motion to receive and file?
Motion?
Second.
I second it.
Okay. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion passes. Next item, review of grounds facility maintenance first quarter fiscal year 24-25.
Good evening, Commissioners. Kind of give you a brief overview of our first quarter. One of the main things that staff accomplished was replacement of the tee number 1 at the golf course. Of course, fertilizing. We repaired a 3-inch water main in Hollydale, along with some broken lateral lines. One of the things I've been asking staff to do at all parks is to raise sunken valve boxes with this sandy soil. They tend to sink over time with the mowers and traffic driving over them incidentally. And so they need to be raised up so that they don't cause any trip and fall hazards. We did some irrigation modifications around restroom number 2 at Southgate Park, because people like to, it's right where the turn is behind diamond number 4. People like to cut across there sometimes, even some of the maintenance vehicles, and it ruins the grass. So staff had an idea. They put a boulder in there, replaced the turf with decomposed granite, and it seems to be working out quite well. We put out the showmobile for 3 different events during this quarter, and staff caught 100 gophers at our parks, all parks.
100. Well,
So we're really working on getting rid of these gophers. As far as park facility maintenance staff, they hosted a variety of events over the past quarter and purchased new maintenance equipment, which included electric pressure washers, compact floor scrubber, and some new vacuums. Let's see, what else did they do? Well, we filled a vacancy. That worked out well. Seems to be a good guy, working really hard. Let's see, we are continuing with the 3rd daily inspection of restrooms, cleaning, and they continue with their disinfecting program. And we also are continuing with the community service worker program. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions.
okay. Vice Chair, do you have any comments? Do we go first or out there first? Can we comment first or open it up there first? Okay. Okay, we'll open it up to the chamber if they have any comments.
All right, thank you. Okay, so this is a review of grounds and facility maintenance. Okay, so I'm not happy with what's going on with Triangle Park. Earlier this year, Mr. Massey stated that they put in a couple of trees in Triangle Park. So I had a chance, I forget when it was, earlier this year, to tour Triangle Park because I wanted to see the work that Mr. Massey did. And it's pretty sad. It's just a dead zone. They took out the benches, the seating. It's just a hollowed out version of what it once was. The one thing that they did get right, well, a couple of things. One, what they did was there were 2 trees that they took out and replaced. One was the ratty Charlie Brown tree. I never liked, Mr. Costley, so thank you for putting in the crepe myrtle. That's going to look lovely once it reaches maturity. And then on the east point, that's aimed towards Southern Ave, that ends towards the LA River. On that point, they took out the tree that was there and put in another crepe myrtle, which is going to look lovely also. But the thing that bums me out about Triangle Park is it's such a lovely area. It should have more trees. And I keep stressing to Mr. Costley, Mr. Massey, put in more trees. You got more than enough space to put in four or 5 or 6 trees. And I encourage the commissioners to tour the location yourself so you can see just how splendid that area is, as is. But I would look to see more trees and also see, I don't know what you call that circular area where the center tree is. They did a great job in cutting it. I was concerned when I first saw it because the way it was growing and sort of angled, it looked to me like it was going to topple over. But now when the tree trimmers went in to service it, it looks terrific. So I'm not concerned about that. The tree looks great, but the whole benching and the seating, that's just sad. And I'd like to see something done with that, addressing because otherwise, what is it? It's just a dead zone. There's no place where people can congregate and hang out. And plus, there's going to be a Starbucks right across from it. I forget where. It's right off of Atlantic. But yeah, I'd like to see definitely more trees and some sort of seating for Triangle Park. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Dominguez. Vice Chair Lizette.
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh, yeah, we'll close the audience portion if there's no other comments. Okay, thank you.
I
Vice
don't.
Chair.
I don't know if this is the place to bring some of this stuff up regarding playground equipment and batting cages. But first with the batting cages, I did see some comments on one of the Facebook pages about the batting cages continuously breaking down and whether there's something we could do to have goals, get on to fixing them more regularly. I know that was something we brought up when when their contract was revised recently, and I don't know if they've put in that effort to more routinely fix some of that equipment. And then my other questions had to do with just the playground equipment for the kids. My toddler is getting to that age where she's just loving the parks. So I've been trying to take her to every park. And I have been noticing that a lot of the swings are missing. One suggestion I have, if there's any way to replace and bring in more toddler swings, because especially at Southgate Park, there's always a line for the toddler swings. And whereas the other ones are almost always empty. On Gardendale Toddler Park, I know that, I don't know if there's missing a slide there, but there's like some plyboard on some of the equipment. So I'm just curious to see what the status is on these things, if there's any plans to replace some of that equipment. And I guess for the master plan, just to kind of put the side note when that comes up, I did notice that the sand at the Gardendale part had a lot of poop in it, and it wasn't necessarily cat poop. I know there's a lot of cats there, but I'm pretty good at recognizing coyote scat, and I know that there's also a lot of coyotes there. So I'm wondering if we know when we revisit the master plan, if that's something we can talk about, whether it's sanitary to even have sand at some of these places. I know it's very, tactile and a good medium for kids to kind of explore, but it's also maybe
Dirty.
not safe for them. But yeah, those are my questions. Thank you.
I can speak with O.C. Harrell from Public Works about maybe adding I'll say about the swings, but I'm not a fan of the sand either. But I'll have staff over there rake it, make sure we clean it up on a more frequent basis. You want to add more, Steve?
Yeah, the Hollydale Tot Lot is our oldest current playground setup. If you've been around to all of our parks, we no longer have sand at any of them. That's the only one with sand. And one of our things is we had in the past changed out a lot of our playgrounds with CDBG money, but that section of Hollydale is not eligible for CDBG money. It doesn't meet the federal requirements for it. So we've never been able to really use that money there, so we would have to use other monies there. But it is our oldest playground, and then we can look at that not only on the master plan, but throughout the overall process. We don't build any other new playground. We don't redo any playground with sand. Just because of part of what you're talking about, it's a litter box a lot of times, and other times it just, when they used to do sand and rubber together on playgrounds, all the sand does is get in between the cracks of all the rubber, and that just turns it all into basically cement, so it doesn't work well. And so the day we get enough funding to redo Hollydale Tot Lot, we will do it back, but without sand. We'll do rubberized surfacing or the crumb rubber under with the artificial turf on top.
And also, Sovive is working on bringing the batting cages back up to snuff.
What would it take to redo that sand to turf?
To turf,
So-
the cost factors have changed greatly lately. It's not that big of an area, but I would still guess right now it's probably going to cost a little over 200,000 to replace that.
Okay. And is there any options with any grants or searching
Not
for?
right now. We're spread thin
I
on
mean,
a lot of
if
our
it's
stuff.
if it's such a dirty environment and unsafe for the
Mo-
children.
The problem with most grants do projects, not maintenance, and replacement of sand is a maintenance function. And so that's not covered under most active things like that. So you have to do you have to either get it from your own general fund or something else like that. You can't do it as a project. No one's giving grant funds to that type of stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, Secretary Palacio.
Yeah, Steve, can you tell us, you mentioned that the area of Hollydale wasn't or didn't qualify for some CDBG money. Can you expand on that? And give us-
Community Development Block Grant Funding is a federal program where we receive funding through HUD, Housing and Urban Development, for certain census tract areas within every city. Those areas that have the lower financial needs or have lower income areas are what are qualify for community development block grant funding, right? If your area, due to the census and the money knowledge there, has too high of a income level, they won't allow you to use block grant funding to improve anything in those areas. So the whole city has a grid of all the eligible block grant areas, and it's literally almost by block. These aren't. Hollydale is our higher end, respectively, for Southgate. We're not, and we all know we're not that high end in some of the stuff. It wouldn't be Beverly Hills, but it's a great place to be, but it doesn't qualify in a lot of those sections for community development block grant funding.
Thank you.
That's it. Okay. Commissioner Escobar, any comments?
I did have a question about the batting cages. I know Lizette just brought it up right now, and you said what? That it was going to get fixed, or?
Yes, Tina was telling me that they're being worked on as we speak.
Yeah, we met with Goals a while back, and they were talking about in their contract, they wanted to they're looking at getting funding to redo them all and to putting on all new things, so just refurbish them because they realize that, yeah, they're very old.
Right. How long ago was this talk? Like, was it recent, this year, like last year?
It was sometime this year. I'm trying to remember if it was
Has there been
before.
any update on it? And I only asked because I took the kids my kids, and it's very, very like out of date. And the staff member that was there, we kept calling him because there was like, I think it's like 12 balls. I don't know that they throw. Only like 5 were working, so we kept having to call. And he's like, I can't leave. I was told that I couldn't leave. I can't help you. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, thanks. So
You can follow
um,
up with them to get.
so that was just kind of interesting. But I was like, okay. I mean, he's like, I'm by myself. I was told I couldn't leave here, and I was like, oh, okay. So I know, and then I fought to follow up with her, but I did see that they were asking about the batting cages, and it's just our baseball season, softball season was in high demand, and they're not playable. But yeah, just want to see the status on that. Would be great.
I saw that.
You can follow up with that.
So that yeah, thank you,
No other comments? Thank you.
thank you.
Glenn, thank you for everything that you reported here. Just going back to the 100 Gophers, is that which all the parks? That's the
Yes.
total for all the parks?
Yes,
Where do we have the biggest issues with our Gophers there?
I'm sorry?
Which park has the biggest issues?
Hollydale Regional Park.
Holiday.
Yeah, that's the biggest. The second would be the West Side Parks along Southern Avenue. And then probably a toss between Circle Park and Southgate Park. The thing is, when I started here, we didn't have any Gophers at Southgate Park and on the West Side Parks. They were all really around Hollydale Regional Park. And unfortunately, people don't invest as much effort and such in their yards as they once did. And the Gopher population has exploded. And it has to do with Caltrans also, all the different entities. I've seen it at LAUSD sites, but unfortunately people, and I get it, a lot of it's because the state of California has really cracked down on the use of pesticides, and it's much more inconvenient to really use the pesticide, dump it in the hole, close the hole, and you're done. You don't have to see the gopher anymore. And I get that. A lot of people don't want to deal with that. They don't want to deal with putting a trap in there. It might pinch them. And then to see the gopher, you got to retrieve your trap. I understand that. So a lot of people, it's even gotten more restrictive for us, and we are, a government entity, to use strong pesticides to kill gophers. And even ground squirrels, it's getting more, diazephone's going to go off the market, so it's going to get even more. And we have those at Hollydale Regional Park and Circle Park. So we are, we pretty much trap them now, or we use a machine that, can inject carbon monoxide, but that's time consuming. I have quite a few staff members that have become very proficient at trapping them. And that's pretty much what the guys are doing. And that's how they get so many in just 1 month or three months, essentially. So, yeah.
Have we thought of doing like a community outreach around the park that maybe train them or teach them how to catch the gophers or anything like that? I mean, just something to think about. I mean, if they knew how to do it, or maybe how easy it could be, or
honestly,
maybe just don't know.
it's a knack, really. I have some guys that are just terrible, honestly, about catching gophers, and others, they're very enthusiastic. And there's really a trick. I mean, literally, you got to get out there with a shovel and you've got to lay the trap just right. And actually, sometimes it's multiple traps because they've got a run and multiple dens. And so what they'll do, once you put that trap, just one trap in, they'll go, okay, block that up. Let's go back to the other hole, the other den. So you've got to catch it on both ends. It's tricky.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
Especially in your yard, because you don't know if it's in this yard and then goes to the other yard. And you
Yeah,
care, but the other person doesn't care.
Yeah. And then a lot of people have misconceptions about gopher behavior. They're very territorial. If they get too close to each other, they'll literally just during the nightfall, just go out and they'll go up to 1/8 of a mile, just run. And they're back in there and they're looking for grass. They're looking for roots. That's
Yeah.
primarily what they're eating.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry.
That's a good camp night activity, right?
Which family can catch the most gophers?
Nice.
huh?
It's challenging.
That's how you
Yeah.
catch gophers.
Only if you can find sponsors.
Yeah,
But I like to let everybody know we're very active. I know there's a lot of gophers out there. Unfortunately, they ebb and flow. They when the populations breed, and so we really need to stay on top of it.
yeah.
Safety first.
Yeah.
No dynamite though. Okay. Watching Caddyshack yesterday, so.
Okay.
No, it's very preemptive too, especially with the Aztec football going there.
Mhm.
We don't want anybody breaking their ankles.
Unfortunate and very fortunate that we have the best gopher catcher working in Hollydale Regional Park, senior grounds maintenance worker, and David Haig, they're working with them. These guys do fantastic work getting rid of the gophers. I look at before he started as a senior grounds maintenance worker working in Hollydale Regional Park, how the park looked compared to now. It's 180-degree difference. It's just like night and day.
Do the coyotes not eat them, or
I'm sorry?
the
Hawks,
coyotes don't eat
coyotes,
them, or?
Not really. There's sometimes
Can't catch 'em,
there's some wildlife out there, cats and other animals, but there's, you have king snakes out there. It's been
Oh,
reports of
God, I
king
didn't
snakes
see
out there. But no, it's,
yeah.
animals are pretty smart. They don't want to get rid of all their food, so they'll let them kind of, do their thing so they have a continuous food supply in nature. So, yeah, it takes us to go out there because, the mountains, like you say, they become a difficult situation with all the play out there.
For every one you catch, how many more are produced?
It's hard to tell because
Yeah.
sometimes you'll just remove them all. And like I said, it's not that they're reproducing, it's that they're relocating from someplace else. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Glenn. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I know I know you had some tree planting. I've seen some new trees popping up. I don't know if that was part of this quarter or last quarter, but I do appreciate the fact that you are planting new trees, especially
Yeah.
in Southgate Park.
Yeah, and
Um,
sometimes I'm not going to replant the onesie twosies, that I get here
Yeah.
and there, because like a project, from Public Works and they have 2 extra trees and I'm not necessarily going to report on 2 trees,
yeah.
It's the significant things I really want to report. Yeah.
Are they using gopher cages for the tree roots that are going in?
No, we don't use those.
I know with tree people, at least when I was managing the Sela region folks, we were doing some of those nets around the trees we were putting, at least in Linwood, because I know they had that problem there too.
I found they don't really work that well.
You think
I
so?
used to be the irrigation specialist many decades ago here, and I was very frustrated, especially in Hollydale Regional Park with the gopher activity, because what the gophers would do is they would dig holes into the valve boxes, fill the valve boxes full of dirt, and chew up all the wires. And you can imagine you've got 2,000 feet of wire between that valve and an irrigation controller, and what the gophers can do to those wires, especially because somebody in their infinite wisdom, instead of keeping all the wires black and white, because you have your common wires white and your black wires, your energizing wire, they said, oh, let's make it easier, and then we'll make multicolored irrigation wires. Well, you don't do that in a gopher infested area because the gophers go for the colored wires first. And I don't know why. They chew on those ones first. And so, yeah, that's a big problem in Hollydale Regional Park. And trying to find broken wires, ooh, good luck. What we've had to do, honestly, is to take those off the irrigation controller and put battery operated little timers in the valve box and then seal it up so they don't get stolen.
Just run current through all the wires and just electrocute them all.
It's difficult with gophers. That's why we really work on trying to get rid of them, because it's not just the fact that we're going to, eliminate trip fall hazards. It's the damage they do to the irrigation systems and the trees and plants and grass.
Thank you again, Glenn. I appreciate
You're welcome.
your hard dedication here. If there's no more comments, do we have a motion to receive and file?
This is Liz. I so move.
We have a second.
Oh, second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item 2,
Item
staff
3.
report.
Three.
Oh, 3.
Item 3,
Item three.
desired outcomes.
Okay, desired outcomes for fiscal year 25-26.
Right. So, as I have informed the commission on several occasions, the Parks and Recreation Department actually starts their budgeting process in September of each year. And our first step on every year is to kind of make outcomes and goals for what we want to see in that next fiscal year. We do realize it's rather early in the setup, but it helps us because we're really busy on certain times of the year. So we spread out this so that we give some time to look at our different goals and objectives throughout the whole year. Our staff since September has been working on their goals and objectives. As part of that, we'll present those to you in the December meeting, but we always, in our November meeting, give an opportunity for the commission to kind of just brainstorm with us if there's anything that we want to see. Goes with that. It allows you guys a little input. It allows us to do some explanations in life. It's kind of more, like I said, more of a brainstorming session than a, hey, this is what we're going to do. Because as I note in the item description here, that not all of it can be done, not all of it will be done, but we want to get your input so we know where to go to and some of the other ideas. Also, as I've noted here, this year, we've had some actually pretty good years for Parks and Rec lately. We've been able to use some different funding. As COVID finished, we had some ARPA funding, some different federal funds. There were different avenues that we had funding. That's all done now. There are no more extra funds hanging around anywhere. And we are really at a point as a city that we're going to be at either a status quo or a cut portion unless we find some additional funding in the city, which means our current direction from the city manager, but from me to my staff, is that the money that you had for 23, 24, I got that, no, 24, 25, so I get the right years, for 24 or 25 is probably the max you're getting, so program to that point. So as we look at programming, they're looking at the concept that if you create something new, you have to be able to fund it with the money you currently have. So as we brainstorm or look at possibilities here, that's part of our thing. They're already going through that process with some of their budgeting. But as we open up for a little input from the commission, it's the same concept. You can ask for everything you want, but if it can't fit within the budget that we currently have, we will either have, if we were to take that suggestion or move forward with something like that, we would have to take something out of our current area. So it's that whole, if you want 5 extra basketball classes, just using something like that, we're going to have to take away 3 tennis classes to accommodate it. Just that's the concept, so you guys understand that we probably won't be able to go to council and ask for additional funding. So at this point, you should probably open it to the public, but also allows you guys the opportunity to just take a look at what you want. Included with the report is this year's goals and objectives and what we have been working off of for this term.
Okay, so at this time, we'll open up to the chamber if any comments for.
Okay, so for outcomes for fiscal year 25, 26. Okay, so I try to get in the splash pad. So I've already explained my strategy to Mr. Costley and to most of the commissioners, how I wanted the city to, I wanted Mr. Costley to, go in front of the Citizens Advisory Committee and put in a request for $110,000 from the CDBG funds that could be used towards plans and designs for a splash pad at Southgate Park. So that's my question to you, Mr. Costley. What is the plan with the splash pad? What's going to happen with that? And what is your intention? Is it going to happen? I would like for us to have a splash pad at Southgate Park. I've explained to you how I want to move forward with it. Last year, I asked you and Jeffers, I wanted to put together an email and send it out, go knocking on these big corporations and asking for contributions towards the cost of construction for a splash pad. And the other thing, going forward with our future Parks and Recreation Commission meetings, I want the commissioners for every meeting to be on top of Mr. Costley's ask and say to him, okay, what is happening with the splash pad? What is going on with the splash pad? What are you doing to make it happen, to have it be included on the city's list of capital improvement projects? Because if it isn't on the city's list of capital improvement projects, that means that it's not a prioritized project and they're not going to do it. So it's not going to happen unless you make it happen, folks. And it really is on you. It's all on you. So that's point number one, to always be on top of Mr. Costley's ass going forward with our Parks and Recreation Commission meetings, asking him about the splash pad and what his intention in making it happen. That point number two is the Parks Master Plan. You need, Commissioner Flores, you're the fucking chair. He's not going to listen to me. He's going to listen to a word I say. But you, sir, you're the chair here. I need you to lead. A leader leads, goddammit. Shit, I need to say it to the fucking the fucking mayor. A leader leads, goddammit. I need to see some real leadership from you. So you need to start kicking in and being on top of Mr. Costley's ass and dropping the hammer on him and seeing that he's on top of these things with the implementing and executing the Parks Master Plan. And seriously, this should be at the very top of your agenda for the future Parks and Recreation Commission meetings. What's happening with the Parks Master Plan and what's going to happen with the splash pad. And if you could answer that question, Mr. Costley, do you have some sort of intention of how to make this happen? Because I need it to be on the city's list of capital improvement projects list. If you could answer that, I'd appreciate it. All right, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Dominguez. Do we have any other public comments? If not, we'll close that portion. Okay, we'll close that portion. Any response? Okay. Any other comments from our commissioners, starting with the vice chair?
I'm very impressed with the growth. I really liked seeing these objectives and just the status and thank you for all the hard work I know you guys put in. I know it's not easy. I know it takes great leadership, and I see it at the events, how everybody knows what to do when things go down. You guys quickly meet, reassess, and fix the problems. And we saw that last year at I think it was the Easter event. You guys moved everything indoors overnight, and it was still an amazing event. So I'm really grateful for all that you guys do. And my only question was with the pickleball. I don't know if that's something that you guys are thinking of bringing in, or if you guys were able to figure out how to make that something that's more of an annual event as well. I don't think I see it here.
So we did do the pickleball trail run in the beginning of the year, I would say, with the whole glow in the dark and all that stuff. So I think we're looking at doing that again in March. But just as soon as our park is finished, the Circle Park, they will have some pickleball courts there.
Oh, nice.
So they'll also do some stuff. But as of right now, we don't have a specific pickleball area for them to play in. So we do try to utilize the gym whenever possible. But it is tough because we have JAA basketball, we have our adult leagues, we have volleyball and all this stuff taking place in the gym. So it is difficult trying to find some time. And the last time we utilized some of our time from our membership hours on Friday nights, and we shut down one of the basketball courts. But we have a lot of members who show up on Friday nights to play basketball, so they're like, wait, what, we only have one court? So it's trying to find that balance. But I know hopefully we can do another pickleball thing coming again in the beginning of next year.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I know it's definitely something I hear a lot of folks I know talk about. So it sounds like it's something that's really gaining popularity. And I'm wondering if ever there's, a company or anything you guys need help with, talking to for sponsorship. Definitely, I'm available to do that, or even with some of our local government reps. I still have some I know a few folks that I could definitely try and speak to if there's ever a need for funding or anything like that, or sponsorships.
Have we looked at the outside courts, being able to create some kind of pickleball courts on
At
that?
Southgate Park?
Yeah, using the tennis courts of somehow.
We are
Dual
looking at that
purpose somehow.
possibility of dual use possibilities for that at the park at there. Our city
I know it's a
manager.
lower net and things like that.
Right. Our city manager's interested in that, and we were looking in the beginning of September to do that, and lack of staff has slowed us down a little on that one, but we'll probably get back on that coming up in the new year. But so
it's in the works.
hopefully when we build a pickleball court at a different park, we can spread the recreation. Not that we don't want recreation at Southgate Park, but sometimes we want to spread the love.
Yeah, of course. Any other comments?
And I would maybe even add, like, maybe, I don't know if that's something you guys could put here for the facility maintenance, but maybe doing some of the maintenance on some of the equipment we have, like when the paint's chipping, I don't know if there's any way for those to be repainted or fixed so that they can last longer. I don't know if that's a possibility with some of the equipment.
What
Are you
what
talking
specific
playgrounds?
equipment? Yeah.
Yeah, like the Cesar Chavez Park. Like I think some of the playground stuff was like chipping and looking a little rusted. And I mean, it's not big, but I'm wondering if that's something you guys can
That can be
before it
looked at.
gets worse.
That can be looked at.
Yeah, but maybe or even like putting the numbers here, like the swings and like replacing those.
Yeah, Glenn will be looking at a few of those and having his guys check some work orders on those for you.
Awesome, thank you.
Secretary Palayo, any comments?
Yeah, just, I want to echo my colleagues' comments. I like what I see out there. There's a lot of diversity and a variety of activities. I think that's good. In looking at the report, though, I noticed that there's definitely a note in there about increasing, social media awareness and that, but there aren't any like numbers, right, that you're shooting for specifically. And I think that that's very important because it isn't just getting the word out about certain things, but I think that that's a useful tool to sort of survey the residents of the city, find out what they like, what they don't like, what they'd like to see, and to kind of what it says here as well, that we have to maybe get rid of a few programs to bring in some new ones. I think that would also be a useful tool to find out from the residents to see what they would be okay with, like not seeing anymore. For example, to bring in pickleball and other activities that they may want, and perhaps maybe even survey everyone and saying, hey, we're going to bring this in for a couple seasons, putting this on the back burner, but then bringing it back at a later time. I mean, I know that funding is definitely important to get all of these activities, and if we had all the funding in the world, then I think that wouldn't be an issue. But I would like to maybe focus on that a bit more, just because I think that's an important tool to let people know, get information, and that helps, kind of adjust and make some changes with that. The other thing that I wanted to touch on is also, well, it's kind of related to this. I know that there was the Grandparents' Day that wasn't so well attended, right? And I think that we discussed it in previous meetings where some senior citizens may not have the access to social media or even be skilled in using that. So, were there any, I guess, solutions or options that were discussed to address that? I know that when I think James was here, we discussed about possibly working with the Senior Center and some other organizations to try to get something like that. Maybe even HSA can provide something. Was there any update on that or anything that you can share?
So what we ended up doing with the Grandparents' Day was they postponed it. So we're going to be revisiting it and scheduling a new time, a new date for that event, because it just didn't get the marketing that it needed. And then we decided also that when we do that, to, like you said, seniors don't all have social media, so getting more flyers and more posters printed over at the Senior Center and making it so, talking to them a little bit more about what it entails, because it is a new event. So, they really didn't know what it was about. And so just having those conversations with the seniors is the goal for this next round.
And I think the main thing is getting the word out, because
Right.
I mean, not all seniors are grandparents. I'm a grandparent. I'm not a
Right.
senior. So it's like, we have to get the word out there that,
Right.
that just the event is happening. So
Right.
Since
That's number one. It's just
Right. So
making sure the event is known, what's happening, how the event's going to be taking place. And then,
Right. So
go
we
from there.
post, I know a lot of times you'll see the big A-frames at like the Sports Center, and it has a lot of our upcoming events. So just putting it out on there, because we didn't have the big posters up. We didn't have all that marketing that we should have had for that event. So just trying to go that route.
We also have senior homes in the city. We have senior villas right on, near California, and I forget where the other senior homes are at. But I think a lot of those folks are always looking for stuff to do too. I know
Right.
with the Kiwanis, we're going there and having bingo with them. So you can tell that they like having,
People, yeah.
people around.
Yeah, and I mentioned the HSA because they're directly in contact with them. I think that that would be a great opportunity to try to leverage that sort of interaction with them to try to get that word out. And then, just a suggestion also, I was able to attend the family day at the park this past weekend. And I saw a lot of people out there, a lot of activity. I didn't stay for the whole, I guess, duration of the event. So I missed the music, but I heard it was really good. But a suggestion would be to maybe at events like that to have a booth where maybe even us as commissioners could be there, engage residents and let them know about different activities that are there. Maybe have a QR code, scan it. Here's a survey, suggestions, etc. That way, it's just more information I think that we can use to try to engage people, let them know what's going on, and hopefully have better attended events.
Right. And we
Um,
actually had people out there at,
Yeah.
we had a booth.
It was-
We had a
Okay.
booth
They had
out there,
Right.
set up there. But yeah, definitely, I like the idea of the QR code with the survey at an event like that. That would be cool.
But
Yeah.
we wouldn't mind having our commissioners out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I wouldn't mind
We were
being
there.
If they want to be if
We were
they want to
there.
help our publicity side alive, we'd be
Yeah.
happy to put you in a Parks and Rec booth to have you help with the whole
Definitely.
thing. That would be
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. I mean, I have no
I'll keep
problem
offering myself
volunteering
to
with
you,
some
but
of these
nobody
events,
takes me up
and
on
I
it.
think that would definitely work. And lastly, I would just say regarding some of the wants, I guess, if possible, right? I know that the concerts have been well attended, and I know that there were comments previously about it being strictly Spanish music, and perhaps having something that's going to be a mix, or having some English rock or something like that. Are there any updates with that?
Yacht Rock.
We-
I call it Yacht Rock.
So it's funny because in having Nikki step into the supervisor or now manager role there, that's one of the things her and I had spoken about when she started there. And she was saying that in the past, when she was at the Girls Clubhouse, I think as a coordinator, that they tried to have some different variation of music, but the people were not having it. And speaking with her, and I was like, really? Because I was surprised too, because I had said the same thing. I said, why don't we have like this or that, or throw out different ideas? And so, but it's still something that we really want to do. And I told her, so I said maybe like a Halloween event or something different where you have a bunch of different generations there. I said it may go well over there, and then just to kind of introduce it to people, because I think sometimes people they're just so used to what they're used to, and
Sure.
they're just not they're just not open to it. But once they start seeing like, hey, yeah, that was really good, so we're trying to figure out how to like integrate that in. But
Yeah, one of the suggestions I made was to find a mariachi that can play a rock song, perhaps,
Oh,
where it's
yeah.
they cover it.
Metalachi, dude. Metalachi.
Well,
Metalachi.
Metalachi,
Yes,
Metalachi would
does
be,
They're
that.
awesome,
Yeah.
man.
they would
are.
be an option, right? But again, just to kind of
They're
change it up,
expensive.
some people may not embrace it by just hearing it, but being there and saying, hey, that wasn't too bad, right? I think that might also be good. And again, I don't know if this is done at some of the concerts, but same thing, right? Having a survey where, what did you think? Any suggestions? Just engaging the public so that they can have a say in what's coming up
I
next
don't
year.
know how
right?
long the concerts are, but maybe two different groups.
Right.
One that opens that's English, and
different,
one that closes at Spanish, or vice versa.
Okay, yeah. All right, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Escobar. Any comments?
Yes, I actually did want to bring up a question, or maybe to put into the agenda or the master plan. Field 9 and 10, they are really, really, it's pretty sad to have them remodeled, but the bleachers there, one of them is wood and it's chipping. I know my daughter got a splinter off of that one. And the little ones, the reason why I'm bringing it up is because the little ones do play over there. Where little ones is 4, 5, and 6. So they're obviously, it's not good for the wood to be coming off the benches. Another thing is the far one by the fire department one. It's metal, and they are broken. They're ripped. They're people are bound to get cut on those. And it's not just one; it's several in several areas of the bleachers. And again, I'm over there because of, my daughter, and I see it. I hear parents commenting all the time, what could be done? They should fix it. There's no shade. Um, on the other side, there's no even bleachers either. And it's just something that I would like for it to be touched bases on and see what we could go forward, because it's necessary. I did bring up last meeting the fact that there was no gate at the end, right? Before there was like a gate kind of guarding the little ones to leave, or anybody could come in. It's not there anymore. And I just would kind of would like to see that actually there. Yeah.
We can definitely look at the bleachers. Glenn will go take a look at them next week and see if there's repairs that we can do.
Yeah.
It may be time that, and there are a few areas in our park where we may need to start replacing some of those. Those are more capital items that take money.
Yeah.
I got to go out and find out where we can get new bleachers. How much are they going to cost? What can we do? But I think you may be right, especially on the bleacher end, that we might need to do 9 and 10, or at least 10. 9 has wooden ones too, and they're not the best either.
No, not at
So-
all. Like, I'm like, not at all.
So
You're
so
not.
9 and 10, we could definitely look at. We'll put that down as something to look
Yeah.
at, as can we somehow manage to get bleachers out of that for those areas? I agree, we couldn't, when we did the fence project, that wasn't something we could add in. We didn't have enough money. So,
Right.
but we can definitely take a look at it. I agree that it's probably something good to look at.
Right. It needs to be even fixed. I mean, if not, there's going to be a lot of kids that will need tetanus shots, because it's ripped. It's not good to have
Well,
them rip
I'll
like
have
that.
Glenn will go out on Monday and he'll check it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Right.
That'll be great.
Okay.
So, when you say like, we'll take a look at it, if it's dangerous,
What Glenn will do is
Yeah.
Glenn's job will be to go out, evaluate what it looks like, and to decide if it can be repaired, right? If we can go out, if it's like you said, if it's one of the wooden ones,
Yeah.
if it's a wooden one, can it be repaired? Could we take off the bench that's there, replace it with a new one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And paint the whole thing and maybe get it back up to speed. If it's a metal one or aluminum, because they're aluminum.
Yeah, the aluminum ones. I
If-
actually took a picture, Steve. I don't know if that would be helpful. I mean,
Right.
it's
But yeah, if it's aluminum, if we find out it's dangerous, Glenn will take a look and go, hey, all we need is a new cap side on it that we can put, and that will protect it. Or if it's, hey, no, this is way beyond the useful life of the bleacher, then what Glenn will do is, if it looks to be still dangerous in that concept, he will take those out of commission,
yeah.
pull those out. We'll figure a way to pull them out of the whole place, and we'll have to look at how we can purchase new ones.
Yeah.
But that gives Glenn the chance on that Monday to go evaluate the whole thing.
And that was my next question. Did they get taken out of commission then if they're dangerous?
Right. If they're dangerous, he'll take them out.
Okay. And then if you do evaluate that they can be fixed, how quickly are you able to get those things fixed? How readily available are end caps and things like that you can replace?
The wood ones are
If
easy to
needed.
repair because I could just have Public Works buy the 2x8s, paint them, install them. The aluminum ones, like Steve said, it's a matter of if it has to be taken out of commission, then yeah, we got to take it out of commission and then go through the process of purchasing another one.
Our
Would it-
good part on that would be is that we get to tell our Public Works Department that our Parks and Recreation Commission is recommending that we remove these if they're broken.
Exactly.
And that usually moves them a little faster.
Wouldn't it be better not to have wood ones though? I mean,
Not to have what?
not to have wood benches. I mean,
If we were to purchase new ones, we would purchase the aluminum bleachers that
Yeah.
you see in the small quad. The wooden ones are still there from early 1980s.
right. That's what I'm saying. Because he said, oh, maybe we could just put on a new one and in a new wood, right? But wouldn't it not be better? I mean, I wouldn't
no,
recommend
you-
not putting
You're
them.
correct, it would be better,
Yeah.
but we still have to put out the funding to get it.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing is, can we afford it? If we can, we'll look at that. I haven't bought an outdoor set of bleachers in a while, so not quite sure what the overall cost is for something like that.
Mhm.
But if we can figure out that, maybe we'll go to aluminum, and see what we can do.
Okay.
And you have funding available, or do we need to ask council for money?
Well, that's what we would
I
do
mean,
once
for
we
this, for the
evaluate.
sand, all these different things.
Right.
I mean, do we need to put something on their agenda to look at these things and
Well, that's
grant
what part of
you some
this
money?
is. That's what part of this is. As we look at this process and we talk about this, when I go forward from here, I'm able to say, not that Steve or Glenn or Tina wants something. Our Parks and Recreation Commission is recommending that we do X, Y, Z. So this is what we look at. And as part of that, as I said before, that's good. That helps us to move forward. But also as part of it, the city manager, in his role of making sure that there's still a balanced budget and we have funding for all the different things, has to make those difficult decisions of, hey, yep, we should go get bleachers. No, the playground will last a couple more years till we get more funding in, right? That type of thing. And he'll ask us for those recommendations, and we'll take some of this that we've just talked about and bring that into the conversation.
I mean, the major things we're talking about are dangerous things.
Right. If
Sand-
it's
Yeah,
sand is
that's what I-
dangerous, we will,
dangerous, and it's
if
been
it's
there for a
dangerous,
while.
we will take it out of play. Certainly. That part we'll do. It's just finding the replacement parts or the cost for it. And a lot of that will get done. But, if it's a wooden bleacher, I'd prefer an aluminum one like you would. But
Right.
if the wooden bleacher is functional, if we can repair it, it's functional, and I can hold on for 2 more years because I need XYZ more than I need a wooden bleacher, a different bleacher, then we have to look at that too. So that gives us kind of the options, but it helps us with the whole process.
So it's in your hands right now currently then
Yeah.
to go ahead and make these recommendations
Yeah.
that we're talking about.
Mhm.
Nothing that we can do to put any kind of
Well,
agenda
it would be,
items.
it would be, and that's
Or-
part of what we'll bring back when we give you, when we give you some of our recommendations at the December meeting. There's some of that, but as we say that, for things like this, it wouldn't be just straight goals and objectives. If we are looking at that and we determine that we need bleachers, say we determine we need 4 bleachers and it's $20,000. I'm making numbers up, right? I can go and say, hey, I need this, and because these are dangerous, we had to pull them. We don't want the fans to just sit on the ground, or they all have to bring their own chairs or whatever that is. We will look at that process and do we have any funding available? Is there something else that we can get them with? And we can go from there. And that's really what it will be, is we'll have to look at where the funding sources is for some part of this.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Any other comments?
Yes, I actually did regarding the public comment was about the splash pad. I just had a question about that. I would just want to know the overall construction cost, maintenance, insurance, employee time. Like, would you have any information on that by any chance? Just to touch bases on that
I'm sorry, say that
for
again.
the splash pad,
Are you you're looking for the general cost of what it would be?
right? Like the maintenance, the staff, the insurance. Just
There's different sections for that. Let
Mhm.
me, so you understand. The general cost, and I've had this conversation with Mario, is that general cost is probably 1.1 to 1.5 million dollars just to put it in. Plus 10% of that would start off with design. Okay, so you're now at 1.3 or 4 million, right? Because you'd have to get the design portion first. They plan it all out. They tell us what we need to fit all of the different California laws and regulations that go with water-based something or other. And they give us what's called an engineer's estimate, which would probably be 1.2, somewhere in that area, million to do that. So you do that, you look to see if there's funding in any of the sources that we could go for something like that. Then the third component, I think, is what you're asking,
Mhm.
is what are the maintenance costs for
Mhm.
that? Now, a splash pad wouldn't take any more additional insurance, as the city is already, we're self-insured. We have a pool of different cities and we just self-insure each other for all the stuff together. So there's no additional insurance costs. There would be significant more maintenance costs,
Mhm.
depending on whatever the recommended design of the splash pad was, because you have to chlorinate the water, you have to filter it if it is a reusable tank or I'm missing a word, but basically where the water goes down, it goes through circulation, it comes back up.
Reclaimed?
No,
Not reclaimed.
sorry.
Not
No,
reclaiming, no.
definitely not reclaimed. Sorry, I'm missing a word here. We have to, just like the pool, we have to filter the water on a regular basis. What? Recirculate. Thank you. I knew I was missing the word. There's two options usually for a splash pad type of thing. It's either recirculated water, which means you pump in, you have a giant tank, it goes through the tank, it goes through a filter, a chlorination system, and it cleans up, right? And then it sprays out again, and then it goes through the whole system, right? With that, we have to do the chlorine, the maintenance on all of that type of stuff, all the equipment it takes for it. There's a lot of maintenance in that because there's a lot of moving parts, right? You also have to clean the splash pad areas. You got to clean the nozzles. You got to clean all the fun stuff that goes with it, right? So there's a lot of maintenance to it. The secondary one is just using straight potable water and then using it and letting it flow back out. There's less equipment to use, but you're wasting a ton of potable water, right? It doesn't go to anywhere else. So most of California probably won't allow that anymore, just out of drought tolerance. We're not going to be able to spend the whole summer just turning on water and letting it go. That doesn't work. So those are the two base options for it. And those are my estimates for cost from what I've heard from other people.
Yeah.
And it all depends on size. You know,
Right.
how big of a splash pad are you going to get? What are going to be the instruments and the items that you have there? You know, is it just a, hey, kind of like what they call the pop jet fountain at the Azalea? You know how the kids run through that one? And that one is actually not a splash pad. It's a fountain. I think they call it that so they don't have to do some of the stuff that goes with it. But if it's that type of a area, you know, and it's just water shooting up and down, it's easier to maintain because there's no pipes, there's no extra things sitting up, right? But if there's, hey, we got the little water cannon and all the other stuff that goes with it,
Yeah.
and, you know, running under the shower, there's all sorts of things you got to take care of with that. And water, just out of its nature, will plug those things up. You know, you got to go clean them, you got to go figure the stuff out. So there's significant maintenance, and you don't run those 12 months out of the year, obviously. You know, you're probably open May to September.
Yeah, that really that's something that's happening at Salt Lake Park at Huntington Park. I know that they had their pool area converted into like a splash pad.
Mhm.
It's gated, and from what I remember checking last time, I think they had like a nominal fee, and it was something like $4 or something. And I assume it just probably costs, covers a little of the maintenance fee, like you were mentioning. 'Cause
Right.
I mean, it doesn't seem excessive at all.
Right, but as you play on it, because you also have to put a proper, most likely rubberized surfacing under it. There's significant cost, like we just talked about for the playground. When you get a lot of kids running through there on a constant basis and water, you know, you're going to tear those up pretty quickly. So you will have a higher annual maintenance to repair the rubberized surfacing that goes under them. You know, or whatever the trip and
Yeah,
fall, you got to make sure.
slipping areas.
You got to make sure it's got the surfacing. You got to make sure none of it's slippery. There's a lot of fun that goes with water.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. As I was looking at this, I know it's pretty aggressive, but one comment I did want to make, I know you're asking about booths and stuff like that, but every event I've been through, whether it's the art walk here, I mean, every event they have a booth, and it's pretty. I think we need to be more aggressive with the booths, and maybe have them more. I mean, you're walking through the art walk and everybody's selling stuff, and then you just pass by the Parks and Rec one. So I know you guys were trying to bring people in, huh? I think they had something, yeah, but I mean, yeah. So, but I mean, maybe put them towards whatever the event is. You know, I know some of the other booths had like coloring tables and things like that, and just so I mean, it's our walk, so just kind of go with the flow. But I do appreciate you guys having a booth at almost every event. So, but again, if there's anything that we can do to support that, just let us know. That was a good suggestion for us to be there, supporting in any way we can, even hearing the community what their needs are too. I know we're not the only ones that see the things that are happening in the different parks. If there's things that, pretty much letting the community know what we're here to listen to, not just, oh, we're making decisions without caring about anybody else, So if we're able to do that, please let us know, and we'll help out in any way we can. But yeah, sorry, getting back to the aggressiveness. I do appreciate the aggressiveness. I do like the things that I saw in here. Some of the things are very aggressive, and some of the things are kind of just going with the flow with what we've normally done. But I think 25, 26 looks like it's going to be if we can stick to this and we can do what's in here, it looks like we're going to have a very good year for 25, 26. So let's do everything we can. Utilize us, use us. Even the social media stuff. I've put it out there many times to have that social media reach out to me to follow my page, and it's never happened in the almost a year now. They're now reaching out to me. So I even went to see James, and he wasn't in. He didn't call me back either. So it's like, okay, somebody needs to do something here. So I'm trying to do everything I can. I have, like I said, 14,000 followers on my page. That's significant. So I try to repost every time I see something. Whether Gil posts it, Steve, or anybody posts something, I always repost it to my page. So anything you guys can do to make sure that my page is utilized, I'm more than happy to help out any way I can. Okay. We got a motion this one? I don't see it here. Huh? Okay. Do we have a motion to receive and file?
A motion?
Second?
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Motion passes. Director's report.
All right, I'll kick this one off. Couple of personnel things, actually, for the commission here. We've had a lot of changes lately. One of the ones that is going to be significant coming up here in the very near future is that our secretary, not Anna, but Reina Gutierrez, who is our secretary for our in our administration office, who's been with us for 23 years, will be leaving us the day before Thanksgiving. So we are currently out to try to fill that position and do that. So in that process. And also recently, we have lost our marketing coordinator, as you keep talking about. So we will be out, we are currently out to hire a new marketing coordinator for the Parks and Recreation Department. That one closes in a week. I don't know the date, but we're hiring that. We are also short several other coordinators, our transportation coordinator, our fitness coordinator, and two of our regular coordinators are also missing at this point. So we're significantly short on full-time staffing for the recreation side. For the park side, we're finally full on all of our allotted positions. He's got everyone.
So Glenn's the only one doing it.
Tina doesn't have everyone right now. It goes cyclically like this stuff a lot of times. It's we have the retirements, we have the other things going on. But if you are at the park in the next couple weeks, probably a couple months, we will either be new or very short on staff. So we are using a lot of hourlies who are great staff to fill in, and some of them may get those positionings when they open. But as of right now, we're short, significantly short on the full-time positions. So
Everything's on the city website?
what?
Everything's on the city
Yeah.
website?
Yeah. Yeah. And then my other quick update will be, as I try to do with you guys, is our major projects updates. We did finalize and do the closing for the fencing project. If you've been to Southgate Park, the fencing's been changed and totally updated for a lot of those areas. Hollydale Community Park, we finally on September 16th reopened that to a new contractor. He opted in for the accelerated schedule, which meant he was supposed to be done by December 19th. But due to changes in that project, there were a lot of issues with the old coordinator or the old contractor. And so as those are done, whereas he may hit the December 19th date, we're not expecting that. So we will probably have a grand opening of that park probably the first week back from the holidays
Still not bad.
in there. And then Circle Park, Chair Flores just asked me about that today because he's been by. If you haven't driven by there, it's flat dirt right now, but they are really right at that point. They started compacting on Monday for the basketball courts and the pickleball courts and the hockey, the futsal court. So that's all getting ready. The parking lot, the new parking lot sections are getting excavated at this point. So they've finally done all the demo, and now they're finally getting to forming the infrastructure on the whole thing. So that one's scheduled to be done March 31st on an accelerated schedule. We're not quite sure if it'll get to that, but it's finally moving along. And so that's a good one too. So, and then the Urban Orchard, I have the first pre-construction meeting on that on Monday, the 18th. We have a new contractor. We will be going to that. They expect that to be about a 5-month to 6-month project to finish that one up. So it's very rare. I mean, I've been here 35 plus years. We have 3 full parks in construction at the same time. That's a lot of construction. I've spending a lot of time in construction meetings lately, but it's a good thing.
Yeah.
So moving forward with those, hopefully we'll be doing that. You guys will all be part of all those fun grand openings of life. So come join us for all that. And then I'll let Tina move forward with the programs.
Don't
Things
forget
like-
about the water tower.
What?
The water tower painting. The water.
Yeah, yeah. That actually, if you've been out there, Urban
It's nice.
Orchard, they've been working on the mural.
Yeah.
It almost looks done.
It has a lot done. I don't know that it's final.
Yeah, I took a picture the other day. It looks almost done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Tina, thank you.
So we give it my update. So we had the art walk that took place in October after our last meeting. It was a good event. I wasn't able to attend it, but it was a good event. It wasn't as well attended as hoped for, but hopefully I know Jen's looking forward to next year because it's their 10th anniversary of the art walk. So I know she wants to do something a little bit different. So see if that can drum up more people and some attention there.
It was a nice
Um,
event, though.
Huh?
It was a nice event.
Yeah, it was a nice event. Like a lot of vendors and stuff out there. Just hope for a little bit more people, more crowd. Then we had the trunk or treat that took place a couple weeks ago. We were out here. We had our vehicle all dressed up for Dodgers, and people had fun playing the little hat game. And we won 3rd place for the decorating. So that was a lot of fun. And then that weekend, we also had Patty's Pumpkin Plunge at the pool. This is the 2nd year that they do that. Leslie had mentioned that it was not as advertised as they did last year. They're heavily advertised, and they still got a good amount of people, but it was a little bit less attendance than it was last year. But nevertheless, they went off, and everybody had a great time. We also had our Halloween, which I think all of you were there. So we had a lot of changes. We had the stage and a whole completely different layout, added food trucks and added just a bunch of things to it. I know that Solomon and Nikki did a great job of just revamping that whole event. And it was great to see so many people out from the community. I think Steve and I were mentioning anywhere roughly about 8,000 people out there throughout the night, just coming in packs and leaving, and the next group come in. So, but it looked like everybody had a great time. Even at 9 o'clock, we were still like, okay, we're done. And people were still trying to trickle out. But it was a great event. And then we had our Veterans Day ceremony this past Saturday. So we had a female speaker this year, which is something different, and it ended up being a Southgate resident as well. So that was a good change and a little different, a little warm out there if you were standing in the sun, but it was a nice event. And then also Family Day in the park. This upcoming stuff we have this Friday, tomorrow, we have the reptile show. So it's our 2nd family night. So they're going to be serving some chicken and some other sides for the families, and they'll have the reptile show. So the kids will have a good time with those animals and be able to see all the reptiles. And And then next week, we have our dance recitals going on in the auditorium, starting Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 5:30. And then a little bit further in the future, we have our Winter Wonderland that we're really excited for. It's going to be similar to last year, but a little bit bigger. We're closing down the street.
Oh, wow.
And, just bringing out the showmobile and just adding some extra features to it. So just, making a fun event for the community. And that'll be December 5th from 4 to 8. And then that weekend, we're hosting the Pageant of the Trees with PD at the auditorium on December 7th. And then the following day, we have the Christmas parade, which will take place on December 8th, and it'll go down Southern instead of Tweedy. So let everybody know, because I think that's going to be the biggest thing, is trying to inform the community that it's not on Tweedy, it'll be on Southern. And then-
If you can, as you said, that would be one of those announcements that we would appreciate all of you sharing on
On
any
social.
other platform you have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've shared it already.
Because I think we're going to surprise a few people. Yeah.
So looking
And
forward
also,
to-
sorry, I'm going to cut you off again. Pageant of the Trees is coming. Will any of you guys be attending? We'd love to have you. And if you,
We're invited, sure.
sure, we'll find you spaces, because you need to buy a tree, right?
I bid on a few.
Yeah.
Never win.
I won a few.
All right. So we'd love to have y'all.
Yeah, it's my dad's birthday, so I have to make sure I can.
December 7th. Right?
Celebrated there.
My daughter.
Let's just tell your dad it's a party for him.
That's what I
Yeah, I
was
know.
thinking. Maybe I could just.
It's my
take-
daughter's birthday too.
And then last but not least, we have on December 14th, the Santa breakfast. And that one also looking to revamp that one just a little bit and add some extra things in there. So I think most of you already have your tickets for that. So yeah, we have a very, very busy next month and a half until we get into the new year. And we're excited for everything we have going on.
Good. Okay. Mr.
On the
Mayor?
park side, we're going to be very busy supporting their events, and we're kind of winterizing our plants, so to speak. If you travel along Southern Avenue, we've been trimming a lot of plants on the west side parks, Hollydale, Southgate, and adjusting irrigation controllers, because this time of the year, unfortunately, you get to have a lot of dry spots, and then all of a sudden you got these muddy spots. So we're working hard on getting rid of those muddy spots and changing controllers timing. And that's about it. Thank you.
Just a quick question, Glenn. Sorry. How are you preparing for the parade on the southern route?
We already
Are,
have.
are you responsible for cutting trees and everything
Just
for that route?
Just the west side parks. What we've done in southern in California is I've had the guys really clean that area up along there. So you notice that some of the plants are turned really low, but that's the reason why.
Okay,
In anticipation. And Public Works staff have stated that they're going to clean the part, the rest of it goes east.
So do you guys only handle maintenance on the plants that are directly on the park areas, or
Correct.
is it the whole strip where it's kind of has the running?
Public Works takes
Trails.
care of everything east of California.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah,
excuse me, yeah, state, no, California, state.
California.
California, thank you very much. It's getting
yeah.
late.
I drove by recently, and yeah, a lot of the succulents look pretty sad.
There's no irrigation there. I gave my recommendation when they put it in. They had finite amount of money. They wanted to improve it. Unfortunately, that's it. How do I say?
No,
So-
it's sad
Thank you,
because there's a lot of beautiful plants there, and
Yes.
and they don't usually look this bad. I don't know what happened, but I don't know if it's the windstorm too that's kind of trashy, making it look a little more trashier
Well,
than usual.
when you plant plants, you can't just not take care of them.
Yeah.
You have to irrigate them. You have to prim them. You have to
True,
sometimes
yeah.
fertilize them. You have to mulch them. They just, over time, even though you plant a plant in the ground, it's going to consume that mulch that's in the soil, and you've got to add some more. And this is why I took out this, because I'm like, hey, wait a minute, they put mulch around an area, so I'm gonna change this up a little bit.
Yeah, no,
Thank
it's
you.
sad because it really does look beautiful when it's well maintained.
I
that
give-
whole strip.
I give them recommendations when they ask.
Thank you. Okay, that was it. Thank you, sir. That's it for that. Okay. Do we have any requests for any items for future agendas? Anybody?
I'd like to see if, given that the Parks Master Plan is out for bid, right? Is it possible to maybe add that to the agenda so that we can discuss and the committee can, or the commission can be prepared for it? So that when that process starts, we know what to expect, what kind of input is going to be required on our end, and what kind of, I guess, other efforts or participation will be required?
What we can do for you is I can have Anna send you the link to the master plan. It's on the city's website.
Yeah.
The request for the proposal is on the city's website. We can allow you guys to look at it. We wouldn't discuss it ahead of time until we have the vendors come in, because we don't want you guys to prejudge what they're going to bring you. But we would let you review what we're going to ask of them.
Okay.
Okay? And so what we'll do at that point is that we will, once we get the vendors, we will have a committee that will review the RFPs, see what they are bringing to the table, what they want to do for the plan. We will probably choose, depending on how many we get. Like we said, we put it out, we got none. If we get several, we'll interview the top ones there, right? And then we'll bring you guys most likely the top 3 to kind of talk to them, ask them questions after what you've reviewed in the whole master plan. And then
Okay.
you'll get an opportunity to ask those questions and answer and find out from them. And then we will actually just give you guys the final vote of who gets to go where.
All right.
Okay?
Thanks.
Anybody else? For myself, I know we're talking about things to bring to the council about safety and things like that. Can we get a report next time, what you've discussed with them?
On, sorry, I'm missing the point.
Sorry, with the request for changing the sand to turf, updating the bleachers, things like that, the things we discussed that you said you'd bring to council.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd like to get from Glenn first where we're going to go.
Right.
And what we
But
need.
if we can get a report.
We
on
can
that.
get, I think we can work maybe for the December meeting, just getting something that says, these are the areas we've reviewed. And then we can look to get your recommendation to bring those to council after the December meeting.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay,
I'm a regular at the council meeting, so I wouldn't mind even, making a pitch during public comment or.
You could.
Mhm.
We always like you guys to champion our stuff. That's part of it, right?
Thank you. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
This is Liz, I so move.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 That's why I was like this.